inspiration, education, and connect you to the resources to help you take that next step to achieve your goal. So I want to say hello to all of my viewers in the United States and around the world. You are in for a treat. So right now, I want to give you time to get your pens, get your paper, let people know about what you're doing, because I always tell you, the way people are going to find out about the Empower Series is if you share it with them. And so go ahead and get your mama, your sister, your cousin, everybody, because this is going to be a show. We are going to talk to a good steward of his ideas, Ben Molina. He is the co-founder and the COO of a company called AlgoPear, which is a financial technology company. And what they do is they provide financial tools and resources to underserved communities through banks, through community credit unions and banks. And so again, I'm giving you time to get your pens and paper ready because you're going to get blown away. We're going to talk about his journey, his entrepreneurial journey, where it starts from, and he's a Texan, straight out of Cedar Hill. And without any further ado, my man Ben, welcome to the Empower Series, man.
What's going down? How you doing? How you doing?
It's all good.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we met, and we were just talking about this. We met at this entrepreneurial space where entrepreneurs were sharing their story. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people there, and it was in Fort Worth. I didn't feel like going, but the Spirit led me to be there. But I'll tell you what, after everybody was speaking, when you spoke, you were the only one that I got up out my seat and looked for you because I felt like you weren't going to be around. And you were, first off, you were very authentic.
Appreciate it.
You were very passionate about what you were sharing.
Thank you.
Serious.
Yeah.
And I just felt a spirit about, man, I need to get you on the Empower Series.
Absolutely.
And
I appreciate it.
Oh, man. So, hey, this is destined, right?
Yeah,
Things happen. There are no accidents. So, again, man, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your journey. And I say that because we also talked about just a little I know about you. Okay. Right? So, being from Cedar Hill, having the opportunity to realize your dream of being an athlete, in college and then later in the professional ranks. A lot of people give that a lot of attention. But definitely, we are not what we do. What we do is a platform for us to do something much bigger.
Correct.
And I believe that we're on the same page with that.
Absolutely.
So tell me about who you are, my man.
Man, it's a beautiful thing. I'm Ben Molina, man, from Dallas, Texas. Grew up in a suburb south of Dallas called Cedar Hill. Had an opportunity to grow up playing sports. Just a little short background about myself. Went to Texas A&M University, studied there, graduated. Also was a 4-year letterman on the football team. Got an opportunity to live a childhood dream per se, to go and play in the NFL, playing with the Dallas Cowboys, and now fast forward and then to my second career, which is being co-founder of AlgoPear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're right, man, because what is this? Less than 1% of the people who are in college, or actually in high school, who make it to college and then make it in the professional ranks. So you are the 1%er, right?
And when you talk about that too, with that 1% thing and coming up, and you heard that, we saw all type of presentations about that. They really tried to drill that into our head to let us know that we need to start focusing on other things coming up. But you really don't really realize how small that really 1% is. So to be a part of that, I'm thankful.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, so my journey is a little bit similar than yours. I didn't make it to the pro ranks, but I did make it to the University of Washington D1 school. Okay. But really, when I was growing up in my neighborhood, right, South Central LA, my vision, like I had a vision and I saw myself going to college. Okay. And so what I did is I was very focused. I studied, I practiced, I displayed some discipline and some consistency in taking actions towards my dream. So tell me about your childhood, and what is it about your childhood that can we can draw the line that can see, okay, you were destined for greatness.
I say the first thing is just being blessed with having two parents and growing up in a two-parent household with my mother and my father. Just with having them in my life being so pivotal with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding small things, little things, especially with my father teaching me the things, the ins and outs about what it's like being a black man here in America, what you have to do, what you have to overcome, the type of mindset that you have to have, the discipline that you have to have. And that's really the foundation of anything, right? Because you're here, you're on this planet to do great things, no matter what it is, but you can't do those things without having that foundation, right? So having that from my parents, man, was just really everything. And then it transitioned over into, really, I call it, when you're on your path of your life, you can really do anything that you want to, but that foundation really pushes you to that next level. And my thing was sports. I mean, just like, any young African-American kid growing up, is idolizing these athletes, entertainers, different things that you grow up, watching and seeing on television. You may have a lot of family members that do that. And of course, that was a childhood dream of mine. Saw it very vividly as a child. Had the ability to manifest as a young boy too as well. My mom always told me, she said I was different because my footsteps was always ordered from the Lord. Yeah. And I really couldn't understand that really as a young child, but really looking back on it now and really seeing where I'm at, everything that I have done, been through, accomplished. I mean, that's some of the realest words that I ever heard. And on that journey of playing sports, on that journey of trying to achieve a goal that is implanted into your subconscious. And it's not an immediate goal, but it's a long-term goal. And like having the dedication and having the fortitude, the grit to actually be able to see those things come true. That's a real testament of somebody that's spiritually grounded. That's a real testament of somebody that has want and has the desire to do something, right, with their life. And it's the same thing that I'm in right now. Very vivid images of me growing up, having a second career. And that career was always to be in business. When I was a little child, I saw myself as like being a businessman, like
in a suit, right?
In a suit, you feel me? Like, I just knew I was destined to do that. Coming up, I had different entrepreneur little businesses coming up, high school, college, trying to do some things, but just having that fortitude and really just having that focus. And really being young, coming up in this generation to where a lot of things are different, okay? A lot of normals are not normal anymore. And just to continue on that path and just to continue to seek diligence and to continue to seek wisdom on the path. And, the story is not even close to being over. We're really just getting started.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. So, man, I listened to you, and I got over 30 years on you, right?
Yeah.
But our paths are kind of similar. Again, growing up in South Central LA, where the environment is not always the most positive environment, but having a strong foundation with parents, having a vision and a dream, and really vividly being able to see it regardless of the circumstances, right? And believing in that and taking actions to achieve it and seeing that manifest. That is something that's the journey of life. Right, because life is simply a manifestation of our ideas.
Right.
If we're bold and daring enough to believe in them and then take consistent action.
Great.
So what are the skill sets? You mentioned some of them, but what are the skill sets specifically that you feel like you acquired as a young man growing up in Cedar Hill, going to college, that is benefiting you now as you start this new business or the new business that you started a few years ago?
It's a lot of them, man. I think the first thing that I would start off with is faith.
Okay.
I know it's very different from a physical, type of characteristic or type of trait or something that you learn, right? Normally people would say like, I learned discipline, or, I learned to how to deal with adversity. And of course you learn those things like, during the way. Of course it's on the list, right? But if I can point out one anything, it's just faith. It's just always believing. It's just like I like to say, life is just like that EKG, right? It's ups and downs, when you're reading your heart monitor, right? You're reading the frequency of it. And what I call that is that's the signature of life. That's what life is. It's peaks and valleys. And being able to handle the peaks without not understanding that there will be valleys, and being able to get up out the valley and understand that there are peaks on the other side, being able to handle those ebbs and flows. Having faith to stay consistent at whatever it is that you're doing, rain, sleet, snow, good health, bad health, great attitude, woke up on the right side of the bed, wrong side of the bed. Right. Having that instillity of having faith about a particular thing, having a faith-based lifestyle propels you forward. And that was something that in my life, you always get signals, right? You always get like,
signs,
I call them signs, codes, you know what I mean, that'll come through your way. And that was something that I've always heard throughout my life as a young child, different programs and stuff that I came in and grew up in, of course, with the sports programs and stuff like that, right? But transitioning over into entrepreneurship, and especially like being a co-founder, right? Being board of directors, being an executive, that mindset that comes with those ebbs and flows of being an entrepreneur, that faith-based mindset will always keep you on your square, right? It'll always keep you down on point. Now, you want to talk about other things as well, of course, discipline, focus, the ability to strategize, right? The ability to pivot from your strategies, the ability to look in the mirror, or I call it, or self-examination, being able to understand if you need to shape up, if you need to scale back on different things of your life, right? Being able to listen, having the spirit of when somebody's talking to you, understanding that these messages are coming from a different place rather than the vessel that you see, right? And just being able to fight. We always call it, like, coming up, you got to have that dog in you, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got that, big dogs eat,
right.
You know what I mean? So having all of that to continue to build, to continue to grow, to continue to, move in that matter, it's all great and it's all good and it's really paying off really today.
Wow. So I hope, again, that you got your pens and paper, because I'm taking notes, right? A faith-based life.
Yeah.
That's real talk, man.
Yeah,
real
for sure.
talk.
For sure.
So here's the deal, man. So we're going to get into your story, and we're going to talk about your business and how it started. But you started this business with some neighborhood boys, right?
100%.
Right. So
100%.
So did you guys, how tight were you when you were growing up in Cedar Hill?
This is the story, man. It's an excellent story. So me, other co-founder of AlgoPear, Ronnie Green, and Jonathan Abercrombie, we all played high school football together. And we all played the same position.
Okay, wait. Now I
hey,
got to know what the lineup is,
listen,
right?
listen.
1, 2, 3.
Listen, I mean, look, I was the older letterman than them,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
So they were both, a grade behind me,
Younger, okay,
right?
gotcha.
So, of course, I, led the bullpen or whatever, but, they toted the pill too. Don't get it twisted. Like, they toted the pill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just like with that story, though, I mean, it's amazing when you see like the success that we having really with AlgoPear, and then you think about the founders, a lot of people are into narratives and a lot of people are into the stories. That what brings people in, and that's what gets people excited. You can't draft up a better story than that. Really, 3 friends from the same neighborhood, all having an opportunity to go to high school together, all having an opportunity to play collegiate sports. And after our careers, we all kind of just, funneled back in with each other to come to a same page and have the same, I would say, dreams, I would say goals, and to be young black men to come together to formulate a business. That's a special thing to do that you really don't see really a lot with our constituents. Yeah.
And what it talks about, too, is that a couple of things. Number one is, who do you surround yourself with?
Right.
Because I'm sure you knew some people in the neighborhood that didn't go the path that you guys went.
Right.
Also, it takes nothing of significance can ever be done alone. So you've got to build a team.
Correct.
And the fact that you guys played on the same team, you had those attributes, you stayed in touch. Then when you went to different colleges.
Correct.
But when you got out of college, you guys stayed together and stayed in touch. So tell me about the formation of the idea of this business that you guys started together.
So what brought us together after school is we all wanted to grow our wealth, right? Mm-hmm. We're young millennials. We're coming out. We're fresh out of college. I mean, to be honest, we don't have nothing. We don't have any resources. We don't have any, availability to really grow our wealth per se. You're coming from the bottom, and you're looking for different ways. And so we started to get into the stock market and we started to trade Forex, options, derivatives, securities, cryptocurrencies, getting into the trading markets, overnight repos, anything that you can to learn the technical analysis of things. So we started to learn together on how to do that. Or the first thing is you can either go to somebody and pay them a management fee, 25% pretty much, to basically handle your finances or grow your wealth, or you can really do it by yourself. Okay. So we all came into an alignment at that time, being in our early 20s at that time, to really understand that, hey, we got to get it going. Yeah. You know, the next 10 years or 15 years is going to be very critical. So we started to get into that space and we started to get into that game. And as deeper as we got, you know, we started to go to school, started to get the different financial licenses, working for different mutual funds, hedge funds, starting our own mutual funds and hedge funds. We really started to get deep into that space. Mm-hmm. And with over a decade of knowledge passing on time at that time, we understood the rules and regulations. We understood what tools were available. We understood pretty much everything that was of the finance game. Right. So once you get your knowledge up, it's the time for you to really do your own thing. It's time for you to really step out there to see if you can provide a product or a solution for a real world problem. And that's how we did it, man. It's just a collection of time, really the alignment of the stars, just with our familiarity that we have with each other and doing business together. You know, that's a huge plus with trying to come up with something great. The background of playing sports together, we like to call it, man, you know, this came out of the stars, and we understand it, and we're going to continue pushing forward.
Okay, well, that's cool. So from what I'm hearing then, the birth of the idea was you individually trying, you know, seeking out Correct. Financial information.
Correct.
And seeking out a way of getting a better return on your money. And there's a traditional way of going to financial advisors, and that works for the majority of people. But then you guys were going through your own personal journey and found that there was probably some difficulty in getting access to this information readily,
Absolutely.
Especially in our community.
Absolutely.
Right? And so what you had was an idea that was bigger than you. So instead of just solving the problem for yourself, you saw a problem that was bigger than you, that was in the marketplace.
And remember when I told you earlier, you asked me, you know, what things that I learned back then that really moved forward to this. And I was telling you, man, it's that faith-based lifestyle. Well, really what comes with that, you have to understand that you got to serve people around you, no matter it is what you do. No matter if it's your business, no matter if it's your personal, no matter if it's the things that's really close to you, we are made to give.
To serve each other.
And to serve each other.
Right.
And we understood that in our communities, there's a lack of financial literacy, right? It's a lack of financial resources. It's a lack of opportunities. It's a lack of really everything when it comes on the financial pyramid for our communities to really get that next step up, to be able to compete in the economic playing field, to be able to have more investments, to be able to acquire more things. So with that market and our mission, and us essentially being the guinea pigs of the company, you know, we understood and we saw and we lived through it. So we understood that, hey, we have to help other people. We have to help the masses really understand that there are tools out here. There are solutions. There are different ways that you can improve your economic health.
Yeah. So I like what you said, because there's an equation. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, he wrote the book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, right, with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Yeah. So he said, your compensation is always equal to the quality of service and the quantity of service. You know, that will equal your compensation. That's Correct. What you just said.
Correct.
You know, you found a problem that you were experiencing. It was really a larger problem, and you got together, put your heads together, and thought of, how can we bring this to market? How can we solve this problem for the masses, right? And so tell me a little bit more about your actual business and what it does. So financial technology, fintech, define that first, because there's some people watching this that's probably thinking, what's financial technology? And we deal with it every day from online banking, but how would you define financial technology?
So before I go there, I do want to backtrack just a little bit, right? Sure. So when we're talking about, you know, continuing to build a company, I just want to put that out there for anybody that's listening, any, you know, entrepreneurs or new founders. That's the reason why you do business in the first place. is to solve a real world problem that is business, right? So most of us, when we think about business, we're thinking about setting up shop, having up something, selling it, and making money on the back end of something.
Yeah.
That's hustling.
Right.
You understand?
Every day I'm hustling.
Every day I'm hustling.
Right.
And hustling is good. You feel me?
Yeah,
You
gotta have the hustle.
You gotta have a hustle behind you.
Right.
But when you're talking about like creating business and you're talking about creating opportunities and sustaining something for a large period of time, what the basis of it is to solving real world problems and having a solution for a problem that's out there in real time. So fast forward it, AlgoPear, we're an all-in-one financial embedded solution for credit unions, banks, regional banks, community banks. And we embed our technology. We're a SaaS company, B2B, business-to-business SaaS company, software as a service, what SaaS means. And we directly embed our technology into the tech stack of a bank, and we allow them to use our technology for financial services. So on our platform, we provide financial literacy, text bot, artificial intelligence, from fractional trading for retail investors, all the way down from automated portfolios and strategies for investing for retail investors, for members at banks as well, along with other features. So essentially, what I like to tell people is how to really explain us in our business model. You think about the company Zelle. You ever heard of them before?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Zelle is an embedded software company. So you go directly within your financial institution, whether if it's Chase, Wells and Fargo, Navy Federal, Comerica Bank, yeah. It doesn't matter. And if you want to send funds to an account, all you have to do is pull out your Zelle, you get their email and you get their number, and boom. It does not matter what bank that they use. It does not matter where their financial institution is. That's software. Mm-hmm. That's embedded software. That's the same thing that we do, and we offer more sophisticated tools, financial solutions, and we embed our tech stack directly within banks. So you'll be able to open up your platform and open up, let's just say your mobile app, you're banking with, X, Y, and Z bank, and you want financial literacy tools, you'll have that available for you right then and there. You want financial advice about 401ks and ETFs. You want to learn more about how do I build my wealth? How do I get more personalized strategies with growing my wealth in my portfolios? You'll have access to that. You also have access to participate in small fractional trading with automated portfolios, and being able just to have these tools immediately right within your phone at a push of a button. It's something that you think about when you're dealing with financial institutions. You would think that they will already provide that for you today, but shockingly, they're not providing it for you. Because you think you're partnering with a bank, right? They got your Social Security, they have your phone number, they got your credit score, they got your line of credit, they have your credit cards, they have your bank, they have your house. But if you want to talk about financial literacy tools, some of those things that you want to get that financial education, or if you want to go indirectly and you want to participate into the stock market, or if you want to have an automated portfolio to where that you can put something into a portfolio once every month to be able to grow your wealth, a lot of these tools are not available for you. So that's where we come in to solve that real world problem.
Right. Going back
and
to the
serving the underserved with giving them financial solutions that will enable them to compete into the economic landscape.
Got it. So the way I look at that is you have traditional banking.
Correct.
So there was a time where everybody had to walk into a bank.
Yeah.
And then technology allowed for some transactions to take place online.
Right.
So you've got online banking. So that's an example of it, right?
Correct.
Traditional brokerage services like TD Ameritrade.
TD Ameritrade, Fidelity.
Or even when you're looking at Chase, they have a brokerage side as well, right? And so those are all traditional, kind of antiquated, not real time, not easily accessible via the phone, which is like now everything's on your phone.
Correct.
And so you saw a gap in providing accessibility to being able to get financial knowledge, financial literacy, and to transact some financial transactions that banks weren't proactively doing.
Correct.
And so that was a problem that you saw.
Correct.
You had a solution, and you went directly to the banks, like credit unions and banks.
Credit unions, community banks, regional banks, all banks.
So do you have, like, if someone wants to take a look at your app, they can't go directly and get the app. They have to make sure their bank is using it. Is that correct?
Correct. So we're a B2B company. So normally, if you do B2C, that means that you are doing business directly with the consumer, right? So, normally you'll pull out your phone and you have an app to where you can go and download it and you can participate in something, right? So we're B2B. So we do businesses and contracts directly with the business, right? So we don't have to essentially go out to get each individual member. We do business with the banks, and the banks already have the members already there, and we just contract them out there. So when you're thinking about working in that space and you're thinking about the type of level that you really need to be on, and especially with financial institutions, man, it's gate kept, man. They not letting you in the door.
Right. Yeah.
Especially when you're young.
They got the captive audience.
You feel me? Especially when you're young.
Yeah.
And you move a certain way, you got some soul about you, they're gonna do their due diligence and they're gonna do their research, you feel me? Right. Before they even deal with you.
You gotta have your game tight.
Absolutely.
You gotta have your game tight.
And when you're thinking about the things that we do too, I do want to add one thing, right? And if anybody that's watching right now, you can go and check out our website, and that's www.algopear.com. That's ALGOPEAR. .com, right. Just like AlgoPear, just like it sounds. We do have all of our medias. We do have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have all of those. So if anybody wants to go follow us on their platforms too as well. But I do want to bring it back. You're talking about these financial tools. It's not anything new.
Right, that's interesting.
But when you're talking about how the industry is gatekept and there's a large sector that needs to be served, these tools are out there, but you have to qualify. Some jurisdictions you have what's called being an accredited investor.
Right. So let's define accredited investor is usually someone that has a net worth of $1 million, excluding their residential home.
Absolutely.
Also, if they're individuals, they're making $200,000 a year. If they're a couple, it's $300,000 a year.
Yes, sir. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So you think about a huge demographic that do not qualify for these financial tools, right? So you have your big legacy players, right? You have your, your wealth advisors that, your banks have been using for the past 30 or 40 years, right? That's not the demographic that we serve. We serve the demographic that does not qualify, which is huge. And if you think about, due to the numbers and statistics, it's over 100 billion, right? That do not qualify for accredited investors, that does not have really the literacy to know who to go to be able to talk about different things. In our communities, we know about 401ks, and really outside of that, then, things really start to get murky, when it comes to just the tools and everything, right? So we understood and we saw a gap, and we say, okay, these tools are available for accredited investors or people who have already built their wealth, or they have a career that is providing for them a great lifestyle. But what about everybody else? Specifically, everybody else really that falls into that category. A lot of them are people that's in our community. And this is something that they need. It's not a want. This is something that is a necessity. And when we deal with executives from financial institutions, and we've talked to them all, and we deal with them all. We're doing business with, a lot, behind the scenes that I can't speak on, what I mean? But you feel me? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Put on my executive hat. But they understand and they see that we are actually solving a problem, a real world problem. I want to spend some
more time on that, because a lot of times, we hear this message that everybody should be an entrepreneur. You need to have multiple streams of income. So we'll talk about the importance and the path of being an entrepreneur, but a lot of times people get into it just for the money, for the hustle. But at the end of the day, if you don't step back and say, okay, number one, what is the problem I'm solving? And be able to articulate that and think that through, and then determine if is there a large enough market that is experiencing this problem that I can provide a solution for, and then is it valued in the marketplace to where I can make some money doing it, right? So really taking the time to really define it as a problem and doing the planning as opposed to just jumping into it.
Correct.
So that's one of the messages that I'm taking away from what you're sharing.
Correct.
Your story, right?
Absolutely. So when you think about that, man, that's a hell of a point there. that's the narrative that is pushed a lot right now, which everybody got to be an entrepreneur, right? Everybody got to get their own business. Everybody has to do this X, Y, and Z. And I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, it's not for everybody, man. Right. It's not. You know, you get that push, or you need to have multiple streams of income. Well, you don't need to be an entrepreneur to have multiple streams of income, right? You can have a great career and diversify your assets like you're supposed to do, right, and let them accumulate over time, 5, 10, 15 years, to be able to have those multiple streams of income, right? But when you're specifically talking about entrepreneurship, right, you're specifically talking about being an owner or being a founder, right? You get all these titles and these names that you can put up on yourself. Absolutely not. It's not for everybody, and I'm going to stand on that. Yeah. If you're not ready to do a lot of things, you know, and again, I don't want to take away from the people that got the spirit that want to hustle.
Want to do it.
That has it in their genes to be able to take $1, put it into something, sell it, and then make $2, right? Which is just, you know, the ebbs and flows, debits and credit, basically. Absolutely. Every one of us needs to have that, right? Because
you need that even in a business like yours.
Correct.
Because it's just a different playing field. Wait, the tracks are different, but you still got to run fast.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And even if you're not an entrepreneur, like, that's the spirit that you need to have to be able to understand, because anything can happen at any day, and you always need something to fall back on. But when you're talking about, man, being an executive of something, being a founder and being an owner, you know, you're responsible for a lot of stuff, man.
And other people.
And that's the first thing that I was going to say that you're responsible for. You're responsible for the livelihood of a lot of people. Whether if you got a small team or whether if you have a big team, you have a lot of those people, they dependent upon you. 1, to make the right decisions. 2, to be the innovator. 3, to be the worker. 4, to bring the insight and the information and the execution on a daily basis to perform at all times. I'm going to say that again one more time. I'm going to stand on that. It is not for everybody. One thing that I've learned in my entrepreneur journey, and I was talking about going back to that faith-based thing, that lifestyle, and I was talking about that EKG, about those ebb and flows. When you're an entrepreneur, man, and you starting off, man, that EKG, it ain't moving, man. It's at the bottom, like it's flatline. It's flatline. You
gotta have faith.
You
lay hands, just pray. Right?
Say. It doesn't move. It is not going to move, man. Yeah. And if you're not really understanding that what you're doing is 100 times, 1,000 times bigger than you, bigger than what you could imagine, bigger than what you can dream about, the impact that it's going to do on other people. It takes somebody honestly spiritual, man. It takes somebody that is, chosen, that's called to do different things. And when I do speak, I talk a lot to, my generations. I'm a millennial, right? And then you got the generation that's behind me. You got Gen Z. Coming up right now, the spirit of our young men and our young women, our black young men and young women, needs to start standing up, because that position of power, one with the economic power, the political power, the educational power, the influential power, is all being transferred down to my generation. Yeah. And from a vast report, we got to step it up.
Yeah.
We have to get more focused and leveled in. But again, the entrepreneurship, man, being a founder, if you ain't ready to walk through the valley of the shadow of death over and over, and to be tried and to be tested and to be proven, I would say that you might want to do something else. I don't care if you're doing something small, and it's okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it's okay. And it doesn't matter if you're doing something small or if you're doing something large. It takes a certain mindset, you know what I mean? It takes a certain outlook on life. And I do believe that, you do have to be chosen. You got to be blessed really to have like a mindset like that, to be able to do that. Because those first 5 years, you know what it is, man. No deposit's going to be coming in.
Yeah. If you got to have the faith, bro.
Got to have that faith.
So here's the thing, too, I want to talk about, because knowing all of that, people see your level of success, but they don't see the process of success. They don't see, the hardship that you're going through.
Right.
So if someone has an idea and they want to go down this path, what is your advice to them? What are the key things that they need to put in place after they got the foundation of faith to make sure that they've done the planning, they've done the research, they've done the economic projection? Because a lot of people just jump into it,
Correct.
right? And I know that you had to do that. You had to have your stuff together because financial services companies are just not going to invest in anybody and partner with anybody.
Correct.
So tell me about your journey there and your advice to people who are watching that has to up their game, up their level when it comes to just getting their financial papers in order. It's like going for a job interview and not having a resume.
Information.
You got a business, you've got to have your business plan. You've got to have your finances in order. Talk about that.
Information and research and education just on the basics of what you need to run a business. It doesn't matter what businesses that you have. The foundation is the same pretty much everything that you do, right? When you're talking about your plan, you're talking about your visions, you're talking about your goals, you're talking about whatever problem that you want to solve, how you want to solve it, the scalability that you want to be at, just that whole vision and plan, that needs to be down on paper before you do anything. Because without that, that's going to be that drive, or that's going to be that oil in that engine that's going to continue to keep you going. I talked about earlier about like having the power to pivot. That's going to happen a lot of times too as well. But just to get that down, to have that be your foundation is everything. The second thing that I would say is the power of networking, just like, how, me and you got down, you know what I mean? You have to be able to have your ears open, be within those networks, get within those groups, meet with, accelerator programs, get into the industry, get into the trade shows, get into the conventions that your industry is participating in. If you're in cosmetics, you need to be at the trade shows. You need to be at the different conventions. You need to be at the different gatherings. If you're in tech, you need to be at, venture tech. You need to be at, Afrotech. You need to be at these events to be able to, one, get your name out, two, being able to meet people that's smarter than you. A lot of people may become your advisors to give you the game.
Mentors.
Correct, mentors to be able to give you the game so you can know exactly what to do. And once you start entering into these worlds, and as time goes on, you'll pick up on things really just automatically. It's like you kind of had that effect of, I would say, like our athletic days. And you're in the gym, and it's your first time in the gym, and you don't really know what the program is. It's your first day on the football squad, and you don't really know, and you're walking into a brand new network. You're going to have to speak to people. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to see what other people are doing around you so you can get the hang of it, and you can continue building whatever product that you have, whatever company that you have, or whatever it is that you're doing. So laying down that foundation, and you got to get yourself out there.
So let me ask you, did you use the resources like the Small Business Administration, resource partners like SCORE, Small Business Development Center, anything like that? Did you use those?
Absolutely. So coming up, and tech, we going out of the ways to try to get different investors, right, to be able to fuel our process, to be able to build out our products and our technology, right? We're a technology company, so we participated in all type of accelerator programs, Impact Ventures here in Dallas with Benjamin Vaughn. A great opportunity for young entrepreneurs, African Americans, minorities, to give them an opportunity to bring them in, put them a part of a program, give them the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of what they need from the foundation, have some different plugs and avenues to be able to get your stuff out there. We've also participated in a lot of other programs as well that propelled us to get to the point that where we are at now. So we've done it all. Like, I'm telling you, anything that you can think of, bro. We look, man, we done been to every trade show, every speaker event that came. We have traveled all the United States. We have met who we needed to meet. We've been everywhere within our industry, and that's the most important thing, being able to just get out there and just to do. Once you're in those worlds and your footsteps are ordered, don't worry. You will be in the place to where you need to be. You just need to prepare to get whatever it is that you need to get once you get there.
So you need to go out there and do the activity, build the relationships. Dr. George Fraser did a talk, and he talked about how important it was to build relationships. Education is important, but it's not enough. You need those relationships, because when it talks about you scaling your business and having access to capital, whether it's your mother and father or your relative or your neighbor who can write a check, a lot of us aren't in that kind of situation. So the key is relationships, building those relationships and building them now, and getting into those conferences, getting into those places, creating networks. So right now, if someone's sitting at home thinking, I got this idea, but I have no money, then I say, well, first off, who do you know? And what are you doing to put yourself in a space to meet people who can take your business to the next level, right?
Correct. And that's the thing, too, in our communities, who do we know? Mm-hmm. You think about it, coming up in our neighborhoods, right? And you have the few that wants to be entrepreneur, they wants to get out there, they wants to start their own thing, whether if it's a big or a small thing. Yeah. And you think about, who do we know, man? Honestly, who do we know? My father growing up, I can see him right now. It's crazy telling me this. Like, this is one of the foundational things that he's told me all the time. He said, son, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Yeah. And when you get there, you better know something.
Look, 2 parts of that, right?
You know what I mean? It's 2 parts. So it's not just the first part, but the second part. Son,
you gotta be ready.
You gotta be ready. You gotta be prepared, and you have to be ready. But if you don't have those things, it's okay, man. You got the power of social media, man. You have the power of the internet. You can get in contact with anybody, literally of a push of a button. People's contact information are not private anymore. They have different databases and different tools to where you can look anybody up and get in contact with anybody, man. It does not matter what it is, right? So you got these capabilities right by you. It's just that spirit of faith to be able to, you know what? I'm dropping back. It's 4th and 25. I'm throwing the Hail Mary, and we're catching it, and we're going to win the game.
There you go. You believe.
You believe.
Faith, right?
That's that faith. You believe. I'm going to throw the Hail Mary, and something's going to catch.
You got to cast your net, man.
Correct.
You got to do the activity, right?
Right.
I always say that, when I talk about the Empower series, it's really an acronym. It's empowering the masses to plan and organize for wealth and education within reach, which means that there are people around us that's within reach that can help us take our idea to the next level. We just got to be bold and daring enough and have the faith to cast the net, go out and really be able to talk about something that is of value, right? Talk about a solution to an issue that the masses will benefit from, right?
And that's the thing, too, I do want to highlight, too. Most of us, we are really starting from the bottom, right? And that's why AlgoPear is, so revolutionary. One, our technology is, of course, but the problem that we're solving, because we're solving an issue of coming with people within our demographic who do not have the resources, who do not know anybody, who do not have the financial literacy, and we're providing them with these solutions. So now they do have that to continue to propel them. Like AlgoPear, even though that, with my career, Texas A&M, being in the NFL, Dallas Cowboys, but going into my second career in finances, I had to start from the bottom, Cliff. Finances and banks is different from that gridiron. You don't really meet too many people that are integrated within sports and finance, even though that they are together, but I'm talking about the personnel. I'm talking about the people. So literally had to start from the bottom and had to go door by door, event by event, person by person, passing out card by card, conversation by conversation for an accumulation of time. And as that time went on, I met Joe, right? I met Susie, I met X, I met Y, and the network started to grow. Okay, Joe knows Kim, and Kim knows him, and him knows him. And then your network starts to grow, and your opportunities start to grow. One, if you're consistent, and one, if you believe. So casting out that net, like you said, very important, because you're going to catch a fish. You cast it out there in good waters, especially right by that dock. I don't know if it's any anglers, right, that's listening. You got to get by the dock. You know what I mean? Yeah. You cast that net by the dock. But excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, man, I just say right now, we can talk forever, right, on this topic. And maybe you even have to come back or have to do something like a more, fireside chat with you. But I really want to make sure that I felt a spirit within you to really get a message out that would help someone on their faith walk, right? If their path is to really build a business and be successful with that. And so as we kind of wrap this up, what are some of the last messages you want to give to our community that they can take with them? And maybe if you want people to reach out to you on LinkedIn or something,
correct,
what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, I really just want to talk to, if I just get a quick 5 minutes, just to talk to my generation of founders and entrepreneurs and business owners with millennials and Gen Z. You know, the time is really more important now than ever that we got to really lock in and we have to really get focused. You think about the generations above us, the baby boomers, look, they're retiring. They're relinquishing a lot of their power that they've worked 40, 45 years to be able to get. They're relinquishing a lot of assets. They're relinquishing a lot of businesses that are being passed down to generations. Our generation right now, we're going through the greatest wealth transfer that we've ever seen, and it's $84 trillion on record. And all of that wealth and knowledge and understanding is being passed down to the millennials and Gen Z. And we got to lock in and we have to get focused. That's a huge responsibility that's on our shoulders right now. You're talking about my generation now being the new head coaches in football, being the new politicians that's rising up, being the new executives and vice presidents and board members within these companies, being in these positions of power. This is something that we cannot be able to take lightly. And our generation, we want things fast. You know, we want that instant gratification. You know, we don't really have the work ethic that you see a lot with the generations that come before us who literally had to build the foundations of the society that we're on right now, that we get the benefit of really inheriting. Yeah. And this is the most important time that we focus up. One, we need to get our spirit right. And we need to get our priorities in line about what we want to do, how we want to live, what kind of foundation do we want to leave for the generation to come behind us, because they're going to come into something that no generation has ever came into really in the history. You want to think about shaping and molding the minds of the people that's going to come behind us as well. And really for our generations, having them to be making smart decisions, having them to have their priorities in line to understand from what's right and what's wrong, how to do things and not how to do things. And being entrepreneurs, having the grit that our fathers and our forefathers had, being able to get up, doesn't matter if they're feeling good, their back is hurting, no matter if they don't want to do it, just to have that spirit of, I'm going to continue to drive, I'm going to continue to go, I'm going to continue to push. And things are not going to be easy for us just because things are being handled for us. Like, again, you have to be able to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, man. And I say that a lot because that's what comes with the game. Yeah. That's what comes with wealth transfers. That's what comes with a change in demographic of the new generation, of a new time, of a new ideas, of new ways. It's not going to be all sweet at the end of the day. We got to be able to focus, and we have to be able to truly lock down and focus on what you really want to do. Solving these real world problems that our generations before us maybe did not have the technology to be able to solve, maybe did not have the education to be able to solve. All of those things are given unto us and put in our position right here. And we got to be able to have the spirit to really accept it, not to celebrate it, but to accept it and really own it, because the ones that's looking up to us, they can see us better than when we could see the ones ahead of us because of all the avenues that's ahead of us. We have to focus and we have to buckle down seriously in the spirit, because things are not as cheap as they was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, the access of things is not as accessible as they were. So even though that, we're in the spotlight and things do look good, you think about the situations that's around us is not as good.
Right.
So we really have to lock in. We really have to strap up, and we really have to get our spirits right, because once that baton is passed, you have no choice but to continue passing it. If you drop that baton, the race is over.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you were talking about baton, right? Because that's the message, man. Like John Johnson was saying that. Like, who are we passing the baton to?
Correct.
You know, I talked to you about my uncle, Dr. James Frank.
Yes, sir.
The first African-American president of the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
Yes, sir.
I also talked to you about Dr. Benjamin Chavis, right?
Yes, sir.
Civil rights icon. They both are about service. They both have gone through some things of which we're benefiting from, like we're standing on their shoulders. One of the things that Benjamin Chavis asked me at the very end of my interview with him was, what gives me hope, right?
Right.
And I told him at that time that he gives me hope, right? Knowing that he's been through some stuff that's harder than what we're going to go through.
Correct.
Or just as hard, right?
Yeah.
And then when I was being interviewed, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was in the Thurgood Marshall building, which was the first black YMCA in D.C. that was built, and it was built by the first black architect.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
And so I told him at that time that my son, who has an architect degree at The Ohio State University, is now in Boston, completing his third year, getting a master's in architecture and design at Harvard University.
Beautiful.
So he's doing the work.
That's right.
Right, he's doing the work. You're doing the work. And so I hear your message, man, because we all stand on the shoulders of people who've come before us. Mm-hmm. We've got to make sure our stuff is in order so that we can have broad shoulders, because people are going to be standing on ours, and we have to be ready, and the next generation has to be ready to receive the baton.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm feeling you on that.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yes, sir.
And so you and I are collaborating. You know, we're collaborating not so that you and I can benefit from each other, but that our collaboration can benefit and bless millions of other people who are going to be watching this long after we're gone.
Yes, sir.
Right? To inspire them to do the work, to strap up, right? And get ready.
You on point. I was going to say, you on point.
It's coming,
You're
right?
on point. You know, and then if I could add one thing onto that, and again, when you're talking about that, man, and hopefully that if you see the older generation, you know, you do get inspired by somebody, you know, when you see somebody from a younger generation like myself, again, you know, we do have a lot of great talent. For my generation, we do have a lot of great innovators. We have a lot of great thinkers. We have a lot of great parents that have raised us in the right way, giving us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it's not anything that you don't have to be, you know, worried about. It's not anything that, you know, when you have someone that is coming to the older generation that you see somebody full of life, you see them full of vigor, you know what I mean? You see them full of inspiration, you know, grab onto those young bucks, man. Really get them and bring them up under your wing and lay your hands on them and show them exactly what it is to do, because I guarantee you there's going to be one of them that's going to bring something to the table that you never thought of, that can multiply those seeds 10-folds, 30-folds, 100-folds, to be able to continue to get this thing going, changing the dynamic of our community, changing the outlook of our community, giving them different ways and different opportunities to succeed, you know, more occupations, you know, more education, more avenues and resources that are available to us, but just to continue to inspire, to continue to lead, and more of us to become more leaders as well.
Well, I'll tell you this, man, just like our conversation, what 3 things I'm thinking about, see if I can remember them all.
All right.
Number 1 is there's no cap on the market for solutions.
0.
None. Also, you started your business not with inventing something new, but being creative to deliver something in a more creative way.
Solving a real world problem.
So creativity is key. And in our last program at the Empower series, because there's multiple solutions to the problem, right? Okay. The Empower series is one of them. What you're doing is one. Banks do have initiatives with financial literacy programs, but it's not reaching everybody. Right? And so there are other companies, Operation Hope, there's Money Management International. Money Management International is the largest nonprofit financial education and counseling service in the United States.
Okay.
But they're not reaching everybody, right? So there's no, again, market cap on these creative solutions. But I say that to say Ben Reeves talked at our last program and shared his story, right? Very inspirational. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it, right? Because there's something in it for you.
Yeah.
But what he said is that whatever solution or problem that we're in, creativity is the way out. Because creativity is infinite.
Absolutely.
There's no cap to it.
Innovation.
Innovation
Yes,
and
sir.
creativity is unlimited. And
Yes,
I'll
sir.
tell you right now, your road to construction is your road to success. I'm sorry, it's always in the construction.
Absolutely.
So there's always going to be a next level for you to get to, right?
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
can't rest, bro.
Yeah.
You can't rest.
Always on the grind. Always on
Most
the grind.
definitely,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Hey, so underneath this video is going to be the link to your LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, as well as there's a description about your company, but I'll make sure there's a link to your company as well.
Okay.
And let this not be the end, but the beginning, right? Of us
Absolutely.
collaborating and doing more work in the future, right?
Let me get a quick plug. If anybody, if you want to follow me on the socials, on my LinkedIn, just type in my name, Ben Molina. You'll be able to connect with me on there. All other social platforms, you can just type in my name, Ben Molina. I should pop up.
Okay, great, man. I appreciate you taking a portion of your life, my brother.
Hey, appreciate
right?
that. I mean, the vibes is high. You know what I mean? Good work.
Most definitely, man. So
Yeah.
thank you. I want to thank you guys for watching, spending a portion of your life with the Empower series. So here's the most important thing you can do, right? The most respectful thing you can do as a result of Ben sharing his story with us is for you to take action, right? Take action. Be committed to excellence and just take action. So with that being said, I want to thank, this is coming to the end of the year. 2024 Empower Series, we are completing 14 years of empowering the community.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Yeah.
my brother. So I want to say thank you to Comerica Bank, who's been our major supporter throughout the entire 14 years. I also want to thank our newest corporate sponsor, which is Independent Financial, as well as all of our donors, all of the volunteers, and all of the people that have come together, AE Media Group, because nothing of significance, as I always say, could be achieved by yourself. It's definitely a team bringing this together. So I want to thank you all. If you want to find out more about the Empower Series, you can definitely go to our website, www.empowerseries.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have we have a membership level as well. If you want to support us in that, you're going to get some behind the scene takes of us preparing for this and some other things. You're going to get input on our new content coming up in 2025, as well as every month I'm going to do a live mastermind with either my guest or just some information that's going to help you achieve your goal and raise your game. So definitely look at our membership levels and support us in that way. If you go to our website, you can take our survey to give us some feedback. If you want to donate, you can click on the donate button in the top left-hand corner, or you can text give or donate to our text line 214-225-6337. Whatever way you want to contribute, we're open.
Yes, sir.
So thank you again, and until we meet again, I want you to be empowered and inspired to thrive. So, bruh, this